French Shalom and greetings to you all. Well, you know what? We had Groundhog Day. We're told to expect 6 more weeks of winter. I think I could have predicted that. And it seems the world is on a permanent Groundhog Day, repeating a day of hate and division over and over again. You know, we've seen the movie. We know it will only stop repeating when we learn the lesson. How long we have till then, it's anyone's guess. And you may not have noticed, but we had a minor Jewish holiday, Tu B'Shvat, which simply means 15th of the month of Shvat, which is called the New Year of the Trees. It's kind of a strange holiday in one of the attempts to come up with what the 4 special days in the calendar were, and rather than the obvious answer of solstices and equinoxes, the idea of 4 New Years was settled upon, which didn't really make a lot of sense, but gave a reason for Rosh Hashanah being New Year's when the Torah tells us it isn't the New Year at all. Now, some view this holiday as a Jewish Earth Day. Of course, I don't fully understand what a non-Jewish Earth Day is, because I think we should be honoring the Great Mother every day. Now, whatever you view it as, celebrating trees and nature is a wonderful thing. We should be doing it all the time. Trees are essential, so it's nice that they're being honored. They're the greatest friend of Earth's climate. They renew our oxygen. They provide shelter and food. There's so much they do. And while they do many things, here are the 5 major things they do. They improve our air quality. Trees are considered the lungs of the earth. They absorb pollutants. They filter contaminants. They produce oxygen, without which we would die. They improve water quality. They reduce erosion and flooding. The leaf canopy catches the water before it can hit and erode the ground. They temper climate, thank God. They lower air temperature and humidity, and the evaporation of water from trees has an air conditioning effect. Now, there was actually a study, probably promoted by Greta Climate, which showed that trees in parking lots can reduce asphalt temperature by 36 degrees and car interiors by 47 degrees. I know I always try and park by a tree for shade if I'm in a parking lot. They conserve energy. Well-placed residential trees shade the home in summer, which is why you often find deciduous trees by houses. They cool the house in the summer, and when the leaves fall off for winter, they don't block the sun. And finally, they are a true natural habitat for birds and animals, our great partners who share the earth with us. Trees promote healthier ecosystems and provide shelter and food. We should do everything to honor them. As we are rapidly approaching the end of the world, as predicted by a former bartender and current member of Congress and forever fool who told us at the end of 2018, global warming and climate change only gave us 12 years before the end of everything. Well, we're down to about 5 to go. One of the greatest concentration of trees, of course, is the Amazon rainforests, which do more than anything in absorbing carbon for the world and providing oxygen so we can continue breathing and living. And in order to prepare for the past November COP30 climate summits, and COP stands for Conference of the Parties, it is the UN's annual climate change conference. And COP30 was held in Belém, Brazil, a city I'm currently scheduled to be at. But they spent 2 years cutting a new 4-lane highway through the tens of thousands of acres of protected Amazon rainforests in order to make it easier for dignitaries to be there flying in their private jets. I guess it wasn't so protected, was it? They took all the trees, put them in a tree museum, charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? Pave paradise, put up a parking lot. Now, COP31 will be in Turkey, and I'm sure they're busily destroying and removing all the ancient sites to make it a friendlier place to attend. Can you imagine how much better the world would be if the money spent on wasted elite conferences went into what they pretend to support? What a difference. And of course, you know, this is a time of year to look ahead what's coming up, and we're a week away from the chocolate and flower extravaganza holiday, the non-Hebrew festival of love, Valentine's Day, which is quite an interesting history. And where it is expected several billion, that's right, billion with a B dollars will be spent. Now, sometimes I wonder what society's turned into. It's an awful lot of money. I personally love the after sales the next day when all the chocolate goes on sale, but everybody should have a fantastic Valentine's Day. I tease about chocolate and all, but it is a day celebrating love, and any day that celebrates love is A-OK in my books. Well, I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love. And who isn't in the mood for love? Who doesn't love the feeling of love and the incredible chemical explosions that take place within you, along with the magic created when you're together with someone you love? And we do love more than one person in our lives. We love so many. So why is it a world with growing hate? Anti-Semitic hate crimes have surged more than 182% within the past year in New York City, the largest Jewish city outside of Israel. According to the information released by the New York Police Department, there's nothing suggesting that number is going to come down at all. In fact, it's only skyrocketing. Every day it gets worse and worse. There is a warning being shouted and not heeded. Do not let it be too late. And of course, we've all been watching the news and we've all been preoccupied lately. And I feel terrible for the Guthrie family over the disappearance of the 84-year-old matriarch, mother of celebrity Savannah Guthrie. And pretty well the only thing covered on the news for the last couple of days has been this story. Iran's nothing. Nowhere else is there any news, I guess. And how sad everyone is, how everybody wants her released. And I'd like that too. But I wonder why the news is so wrapped up in the horror of the 84-year-old mother of a celebrity being abducted when they said absolutely nothing and continue to say nothing about the hundreds abducted and kept in tunnels for 2 years and the more than 1,200 killed by Hamas monsters on October 7th, 2023. I don't understand. Where was coverage of that? Where was anybody screaming about that? Would the same human cry be heard if it were a Jewish celebrity's mother? I'm not so sure. I hope she's safe. I hope she gets released. But I am disgusted by the obvious split in coverage of one and not the other. And of course, in our timetable counting down celebrations coming up, we have Chinese New Year, which, like all New Years, coincide with the new moon, and it will be the new moon of Adar. And Adar is the 12th month of the spiritual year. Other than the Chinese New Year, 2 other major events take place in Adar. On the 7th, we have the anniversary of the birth and death of Moses. I'm not sure how they know that. And on the 14th, we have Purim, a holiday chosen by Lot, celebrating a Holocaust which did not occur, which we're going to talk about as we get closer. It'll be on March 3rd this year. It, like the Chinese New Year's, an event celebrated in all corners of the world. Great gatherings occur with great celebrations, and we read one of only 2 books of the Bible named for women. And it's a time when we all gather, just as we gather as a like-minded group now. Collective consciousness of seekers showing faith every week, any and all faith. Love, any and all love, because we are a fellowship, a chavura, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes. Unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. Sharing, bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her their own way. So once again, please do go ahead, invite everybody, some physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Umenai, Shevet Ahim Kam Yachad, Hine Matov, Umenai, Shevet Ahim Kam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. because we are a community, my friends. We support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you can control, of what you can correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. It's goodwill, energy, light that we send to help heal whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewals for everybody. It just floats through space, finding those in need, so send it out for those you know, for the souls and spirits of everyone you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people, it's for our pets, it's for the earth, it is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam, that is part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And a part of that healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everyone. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds, so let's all send the energy out for the people in need everywhere. And always special thoughts and prayers for those in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. Like Mrs. Guthrie. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us and for those close to us. For Nadine and Sadie. For Leanne on a mission to find her happiness. For Laura traveling through the jungle right now. For Leo and Leia, completely different twins, but both with an incredible gift to get to the bottom of any problem. For my study group, learning new tools for meditation. For Corey and Alan. For Gabriel. For Deep Fish and Carson. For Luke, on the road to recovery, sorely missed by all. M.W., Bonnie. For Ruth and Roberta. For Shelley and Winston and Inura, who I will be seeing shortly. For Alana, who I hope to see. John and Fern. I'll be seeing them too. Maria and John. Dory and Gloria. Connie and Ronnie. For Tally and Mayim. For Nina, Danny, and Linda. For all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include all the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know in need. For the whole world. And for the little baby bee. We pray for those who need prayer, friends. It is for the kindness, healing, wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It circles the world, finding those in need. Because the world is a world of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shabara, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Imotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find courage, make our lives a blessing, renewal of body, renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as he has healed before. Misha Baruch, may he who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing, renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now this week we're going to read a very rare Torah parsha named for a non-Jewish character, Yitro, Jethro. But in this book of names, we saw he also had several names. It's Moses' father-in-law. He comes to Moses. Exodus 18:5. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, and his sons and his wife came to Moses to the wilderness in which he was camping at the mountain of God. He said to Moses, I, your father-in-law, Jethro, have come to you, and your wife and her 2 sons with her. And Moses went out to his father-in-law, and he bowed, and he kissed him. And they asked each other how they were. They came to the tent. This is the closest to a relationship we see in Moses' life. And while he asked his father-in-law how he was, he sees his wife, he sees his children. He doesn't greet them, that we're aware of. In fact, we're told nothing of his interaction with his own family. Why does the Torah announce the arrival of Moses' wife and children, but not describe a personal meeting scene between them? It's another perfect opportunity for you to write a midrash and speculate on what took place. That's what commentary comes from. So Moses catches Jethro up on everything that's going on, everything that's happened, everything that's happening, and explains how he processes his day, how busy he is. And Jethro suggests a system of judging because Moses spent so much time judging. Exodus 18:24, and Moses listened to his father-in-law's voice and did everything that he had said. The system put in place lasted all the way through the period of Judges, close to 1,000 years. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because this week is about the Great Epiphany. We had our introduction via the plagues. We had our climax with the splitting of the Red Sea. And now we get the conclusion, the Ten Commandments. Exodus 19:1. In the third month, after the exodus of the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, on this day, they came to the wilderness of Sinai, and Israel camped opposite the mountain. We were taught a long time ago that there are 5 W's we need to know. Who, what, when, where, why. We know the who. We now know the when and where. We still want what and why. The people have reached the mountain of God, Horeb, also known as Sinai. Everything's got another name. They do not know it, but they're going to be there for a while. And Moses has gone up to God. Now, the Septuagint text is probably more correct because it says Moses gone up to the mountain of God, which fits better with the words that follow, and the Lord called to him from the mountain. We're going to get a glimpse of what is to be, and it is centered on the conditions of life. Conditional love, acceptance, recognition, which we still engulf our lives with today. Exodus 19:5. And now, if you'll listen to my voice and observe my covenant, then you'll be a treasure to me out of all the peoples, because all the earth is mine. If then. We still treat so much as if then. That's the why. And if we work at it, we can drop the conditions and learn to just be accepting of all as they are. That's what we really need to be focused on. We are at the climax. We've reached the moment of the Great Epiphany, the delivery of the Decalogue. That's the what? The rules of life. God speaks the words of the Ten Commandments aloud directly to the people assembled. Never before or since in the history of man has there been a public revelation like this. Every other spiritual revelation has been to an individual who ends up saying, hey, God told me. In this case, God tells you. And everything is written in the singular as if God is speaking to you alone. The people are at the mountain of God, and today is the day. Exodus 19:16. It was on the third day. It was morning. And it was thunder and lightning and a heavy cloud on the mountain and a sound of a horn, very strong. The entire people that was in the camp trembled, and Moses brought out the people towards God from the camp, and they stood up at the bottom of the mountain. Mount Sinai was all smoke because the Lord came down on it in fire. And its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain trembled greatly. Thunder on the mountain, fire in the moon, ruckus in the owl, sun'll be here soon. Today's the day, gonna grab my trombone and blow. Well, there's hot stuff here, and it's everywhere I go. Now the mountain is shaking. There's 600,000 people there. These are the words of God himself. Exodus 21. Vayedaber devarim. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slaves. Notice that the introduction is not of the creator of the world, but it's he who gave you freedom. The most important thing you can have, my friends. And unless you read this in the biblical Hebrew, you can't notice the tense. It's not the plural you. Throughout the 10 words, the commands are cast in the second person singular. Elsewhere in Hebrew laws, plurals or third person singulars are often used. The commandments are the most unique piece of writing in the Bible. They are addressed to each person individually. Every time you read them, think them, say them, it is to you, yourself alone. So we've had our introduction, and now they begin. You shall have no other gods beside me. You meaning you as an individual. The list you're reading is probably more poetic in whatever translation you're reading than what was originally said. They would have been very terse enough to be carved in stone. No other gods, no images, no broken oaths. Remember the Sabbath. And remember, Sabbath means ceasing, so it simply remember to stop. Honor mother and father. No murder, no adultery, no stealing, no false witness, no coveting. So what do they mean? Why are they still significant in our lives? If you knew nothing else, is this enough? It was enough because this was the religious practice for hundreds of years. Recite the 10 Commandments. They were carved on 2 stone tablets. So they couldn't be too wordy. Nor did they have to be. And of course, we now get books and books of further interpretation and explanation, but they really speak for themselves. They are simple rules of life, and they're all you need. No other God. Just like light or sound emanates from a single source and vibrates and expands, there is a point at the root of everything, the One. In this case, it's God. He who causes being was the point from which everything emanated. No image. This goes beyond mere recognition. We're not limited by our 5 senses, which can do so much to limit our ability to understand, but we cannot make an image of something that is beyond our ability to imagine. The third is one of the most interesting ones. Not that they aren't all. Exodus 27. You shall not bring up the name of the Lord your God for falsehood. Now, we say do not take the name of the Lord in vain, and we think it has to do with swearing. Well, it does. It has to do with swearing an oath. It's that kind of swearing. And most oaths are never fulfilled. We even went so far as to incorporate the annulment of vows from what has become the most sacred day of the year. Remember the Sabbath? Like I said, Sabbath means stop, cease. Take time to stop. It allows you to be like God, work, and then stop. Doesn't mean rest. God didn't need rest. Honor mother and father is about the roots of where you come from and the energy of male and female, the 2 elements needed for creation. Pay no attention to the idiocy of whether a man can get pregnant. They can't. Then there's a mini rush of commandments. Exodus 20:13. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not testify against your neighbor as a lying witness. No murder. It makes perfect sense to me. The King John translation is misleading because it says do not kill. Murder contains intention, killing does not. And this is just not about physical acts. We often murder the spirits of people. No adultery. The rules for marriage were different for men and women. However, you would have to go back to the Egyptian pyramid text to understand how this one came about. On death, the soul of the deceased was guided along the path of the underworld by Anubis and asked questions by a series of assessors or judges. His heart was then weighed against a feather, and his heart needed to be lighter. One of those questions was about love and sex. Have you loved only where the heart is? This strikes at the emotional commitments we make. No stealing. Stealing can be as simple as an apple from the grocery store or time at work for personal business. No lying. Lies create a momentum of their own and lay at the root of lashon hara, evil speech. Last is no coveting. When we covet, we long for what someone else has, and this breeds jealousy and envy and diminishes our own worth. Do not diminish yourself. Remember, my friends, I said this before, no dream is too big, no challenge too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. It's always accomplished step by step. It used to be. Your daily prayer was as simple as reciting the 10 Commandments and saying the Shema, the 6-word prayer honoring monotheism. Listen, you who struggle, the Lord is God, the Lord alone. How simple and easy those 2 things are. If you read nothing else in this week's Parsha, read this. It's not big, but it can change your life. When we break these, any of these, we are in the process of breaking our world. Broken clutter, broken saws, broken buckles, broken laws, broken bodies, broken bones, broken voices on broken phones. Take a deep breath, feel like you choke. everything is broken. Everything is broken, but it doesn't have to be. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together, we celebrate with each other, we love each other, we share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our cabin, our cause, our effect. Everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. As you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? Because if you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, aware, present in all of life's circumstances. Learn to love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone is always going to be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief. Do not accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other because we are each of us trying to find love, acceptance, and support in life. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them and tell them what they mean. There are only 10 little rules for life. 10 little rules to live by. 10 little rules to know. 10 simple ways to lead your life each day. 10 little ways to reap what you sow. 10 ways to be a brother. 10 ways to be a friend. 10 ways to see how life ought to be. 10 ways to get where you need to be in the end. Let these 10 words, what many consider the defining moment of mankind, the Great Epiphany, the public announcement, the Decalogue, the 10 Commandments, which in Hebrew are called the 10 words, Asherah Dibro, be the only real rules you need. Thank you for joining me, my friend. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.